the session so that we can go deeper. Fear of emotion. From the next week, we will continue to meet on Thursdays.
Yes, yes, if
Okay.
this works for you.
Yeah, yeah, that will work for me. So, fear of emotion. Tell me where the fear is located. The mind is the location of the fear.
The
Have you
mind.
ever heard that oh, my fear is located in my big toe or hand or neck?
No.
No. So we always think that the fear is located in the mind. So if the fear is located in the mind, then the mind is the cause of the fear, sadness. So here our masters gives us such a such a powerful knowledge and wisdom. But why the mind lives in fear? Or in other words, why the fear lives in the mind, why the anxiety lives in the mind, why the reaction lives in the mind? You
Because
have to,
that's where thoughts are located.
yes, the main answer is because of ignorance. And what is ignorance? Because of misunderstanding, because of wrong notion. And those wrong notions are nothing but the wrong thoughts and ideas. What will happen to my honey, for example, if I talk about it, what will happen to my honey? I'm thinking about the honey. So there is a thought about it, and the thought is associated with the fear and the anxiety. So mind is the location of the fear anxiety reaction. And the way I am thinking is my thinking right or wrong? Because if my thinking is wrong, that is known as the impurity of the mind. And as long as we have that impurity of the mind, this fear is not going anywhere. Fear, anxiety, reaction, duality, conflict will come back again. And then we continue to live with that fear and anxiety throughout our life. We make our life a mess. Say, for example, if we both have a conflict, you should also sit down calmly. I should also sit down calmly. And then we communicate. We remove the wrong thought. The problem is gone. But if we don't want to do it, why? It is because of ignorance, it is because of the wrong thinking. That that results into fight or divorce or crime or etc. etc. Am I making myself clear?
Yes. Yes.
So it means, sometime I see that, we take a hammer and we hit on our head. That is anxiety. That is fear. That is reaction. That is duality. That is conflict. That is the problem in relationship.
Hmm.
Not a physical hammer, mental hammer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So we hit our own mind with ourselves. Nobody is saying to you and me that please think bad about me. Is anybody saying?
yeah. No.
Is your friend saying, "Oh, think bad about me"? So when I
No.
come to you and then you become angry over me. Does anybody says this?
No.
So when we, because because the Eastern wisdom helps us to think rightly. So that is why it is asking a question that do you go to your friend and say to him or her, Ah, think bad about me.
No.
Angry. Okay. If you say no, then why my mind thinks of the fear and anxiety and bad and reaction?
Because the mind is
Because
ignorance.
yes, because of ignorance, and make it very clear, ignorance means misunderstanding. Ignorance means absence of the right knowledge. Ignorance means wrong ideas, wrong notion, wrong thought. That is why the problem comes in our life. So I said before that we invite the problem to ourselves by thinking wrongly, living in ignorance. That is the meaning that I hammer my head with myself. Hammering my head with myself means, nobody is saying that please think bad about me, and still I'm thinking bad about them. Anytime, anywhere. Anytime, anywhere in our life, if we stop this bad, negative, reactive thinking, we are already out of fear and anxiety. There's no question that why we should have a fear and anxiety. Now you have to ski on your mind to change that fear. So that is why our master says, are we worthy of suffering? No, we are not worthy of suffering, and still we suffer. That is your experience.
Yeah.
Before Canada,
Yes.
oh, no. I'm worried about A, and I'm worried about B. I'm worried about Dad. I'm worried about Mom. You're you're never worried about me. No, I'm just joking.
Yes.
So it is the way we think, the way we feel. If the way we think, the way we feel is in ignorance, is due to misunderstanding, is due to the wrong thinking, we will suffer, and then we claim, I am suffering because of you. So when we claim we have a fear, we have anxiety, we have sadness, we think of unknown fears, it causes the problems in your life. As such, there is no problem. You rightly told me you never thought about anything while you're staying in Canada.
Yes.
And all the situation in the world existed. Your
Mhm.
mom was there, your dad was there, your siblings were there. Everyone was present
Yes.
before and after the Canada. When you were in Canada, they were there. Everyone was living their life. You returned from Canada, they are still living their life. But I started thinking. The way I start thinking, that causes the worries. The way I start thinking, so I have to find out whether I'm thinking rightly, wrongly. Do I have anything that I can do to the people? Always be ready to contribute, be grateful to the people, and especially their parents and siblings and friends.
Mhm.
But at the same time, we should also be clear. There is no question for fear, anxiety, sadness in our relationship with anyone. Society always teaches, we get worried. What will happen to you? Such a situation has come. Every situation is a good situation. If you think the situation is good, it is good. Because if you think that the situation is bad, it is bad. So as we are moving, you are very clear, and you should be very clear. Nobody says that please think bad about me.
Mm-hmm.
But still our mind thinks it. It is the impurity of the mind. I'm living in ignorance. Do we get any reward? Do we get any reward by thinking badly
No.
here about anyone?
No.
Why we think so? Because of ignorance. Because of the impurity of the mind. And that is where we concluded we are not worthy of suffering. That is another point. So the moment we experience we are suffering, we have to remove the ignorance, we have to remove the wrong notion. Are you clear?
Yes.
I teach these lessons, even, I'm teaching these lessons to another. She is around 62.
Mm-hmm.
And she has been carrying these impressions about her husband, about her kids, and about her relations, about her sister. But now she joined me now. So that's why I'm teaching the same thing to her. So yes, no, let us come to the point. Now, when we are not worthy of suffering, that is one, we should become aware, we should instantly become alert. And the moment we become alert, and we say, no, I'm not worthy of the suffering because it is happening because of the wrong notion, the impurities of the mind. So let me correct my thinking. What do you mean by correct your thinking? My mind is saying person A is crazy, and I tell my mind, stop this nonsense. Did you get it?
Yes.
When the mind is in fear, you say, stop this nonsense, my mind. I don't believe you. So first you say, stop mind. Consciously, when you say it consciously, you are thinking, and that is going to change the thought pattern. That is the first thing. Second, can you have an idea? No one can take our fear, suffering. For example, the dad can give you the money, mom can give you the money, the comfort, but mom cannot give you the peace and happiness. The dad cannot give you. Did you understand that?
Yeah.
Peace and happiness cannot be sold, cannot be given. I have to discover peace and happiness in myself. Is it possible that dad can eat for you?
No.
So the dad cannot eat. So it means the dad cannot give me the peace. But they can give me the comfort.
Yeah.
They can provide me the outer resources for which we are grateful.
Mm-hmm.
We should always be grateful. I'm grateful to you. So you should also be grateful to me because I'm passing on the knowledge to you. That is why you are grateful, and I'm grateful because you are paying for me. That helps me. So that increases the mutual respect, love, and the care. What is the point I'm making? No one can take our fear, suffering. We have to remove them.
Yes.
No one can take our fear, anxiety, sadness, loneliness. We have to remove them. So, what is the conclusion? Think of it. What should be the conclusion? It means I have to work on my mind. I have to work on my mind until, on the mind, until my mind, my mind listens to me all the time. That is the goal. And that is what I have been saying, working on the mind, or the mind is working on us. We'll go a systematic approach to how to purify the mind. All these are impurities of the mind. Impurities of the mind, why it is there? Because of the ignorance. What is ignorance? Because I think wrongly. And the best example that I gave you, that nobody says, please, when you meet me next time, be angry over me, think bad about me. No one says. But still we do it. We do it because of ignorance, because of the impurity of the mind. And that causes ultimately the fear, anxiety, duality, conflict, and all kinds of the problem. It's disturbs of. You're still taking your medication of the sleep?
No.
Thank you. I'm very happy. You told me, I was so much concerned about. I didn't show that concern, but I'm telling you that I was so much concerned. At this young age, you are taking those sleeping pills. So be mindful. I'm not a doctor, so I cannot say take it or do not take it, but you have to be mindful.
Mhm.
So we are talking again, return back to, we are talking about the fear. Fear is just an emotion. What is the difference between an emotion and a thought? So that we
Uh,
can really understand.
an emotion is something that you feel,
Yes.
and a thought is a thought. I mean, you.
Yeah. It's okay. Thought is a thought. To make it little clearer,
Mhm.
thought is like a particle, part, and the feeling is like a wave. But behind every feeling and emotion, there is a thought. Without the thought, you cannot have an emotion.
Yes.
What is the thought? I am scared. And then you have feeling. I'm anxious. Thought, feeling. So they live together, without which say for example, there is no thought about the fear, and you have a tingling sensation in the body. So because thought gives you the knowledge, so thought is not there, tingling sensation is there, so it cannot be labeled as a fear. Did you understand that?
Yeah.
Feeling, emotion, must qualify with the thinking. So it means if I don't think about the fear, there is no fear. If I don't think about the anxiety, there is no feeling or emotion of the anxiety. If I don't think about the sadness, there is no sadness. We do not think. So when subconscious thinking is there, why subconscious thinking? Because of the impurity of the mind, because of the ignorance, because of our wrong thinking. So now you are not aware that you had a thought of the fear, and now you are, whatever let's say, that you are surrounded by the emotion and the feeling of the fear. So what happens then? Your face becomes yellow. There is a palpitation in the heart. The pulse slows down. There is a tremor of the limbs. Sometimes there is a perspiration. Sometimes we become speechless in fear. Then other symptoms also. Choking of the voice. We find we are not able to speak. We become like a log of wood. Oh, did I cover this topic before? No.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So the mind gets stunned. We are not able to see what is right and wrong. So the root cause of that fear and the anxiety is ignorance, is the impurity of the mind, is the wrong thinking. So those symptoms takes over our life, and then we get worried. Then we get worried. Again, I'm reminding you, you had no thoughts of anxiety and the fear when you were in Canada. You were enjoying, you hardly remember anyone. And so when you send the message to me that you're in Canada, then I said, okay, now I got a good topic. And I was 100% sure because you will be more engaged in your activities than being anxious. What will happen to person A? What will happen to person B? Are they okay or not? And when you returned here, everyone was fine. Everyone was living their life.
Yes.
They might have asked you a couple of questions because you are related to them, but that's all.
Yeah.
That's all. Ignorance is the cause of the fear. I told you wrong notion in perception. Wrong notion. I see the thing. I see the thing wrongly, but nothing wrong is there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that may be of my age, isn't it? It may be around 50, 60s, yeah.
My parents are in their 40s, mid
Oh,
40s.
my goodness, they're in their 40s. So when they have taken care of their life in their 40s, they will continue to take care. I should be able to contribute, be grateful to them, connect to them, but at the same time, I have no reason to have an anxiety and fear for them. So ignorance is the cause of the fear, the wrong notion, error in perception, guided by the false belief, loss. Now what happens? One more part, and then we will bring in that. So what happens, when I'm in anxiety and the fear and the duality and a conflict, and it is very clear that nobody asked me to think bad or nobody asked me to be over concerned about anyone, including your dad and mom. Did your mom and dad told you that please be concerned about me? Enter into fear and anxiety. Did your dad told you?
No.
That why we think in that way? Because of that thinking, the emotion, that feeling and the sensation turns into an emotion of the fear. So then what happens? Now what happens? Now what is the state of the mind? So when we live with those thoughts and feelings, there is a loss of happiness in our life. And who is responsible? We are.
Um.
And then we claim that we are responsible for our suffering. Then we claim we are worthy of our suffering. And then we continue to suffer. And it takes a mental and emotional toll on our life. We forget the goal of our life. We do not progress. Our progress stops. Never do this. The moment you have any challenges, just call me even in the midnight.
Okay.
So I'm going to send you this file. You have to
Listen.
listen.